What's up, guys? Just Carlos here, and this video is going to be slightly different. In this video, I'm just going to be completely raw and authentic as well to you guys, like without any editing, based on basically the journey that I've been going through to go from zero, let's say, as you guys know, from a cookie factory worker to 100, 200, 250K per month with my dropshipping stores. So in this video, I'll basically list down a few things I would like to basically discuss with you guys, which is first of all going to be my background, basically where I come from, how basically I've been able to overcome the obstacles, right, that I've also faced. Because you see so many people right now maybe having success in different kind of business models, and you see all the front end, but the back end and all the obstacles, most likely that's not going to be the thing that they will share because it's not that sexy, right? But in this video, I'm just going to basically give away everything that I have been able to generate that actually got me towards the success, but also the obstacles that I've been able to overcome and that I faced along the way. So you can also prevent that, because if you know what to do, that's perfect. But if you also know what not to do, that will be even better, because you at least will save a lot of money and a lot of time when you, of course, implement it, right? So, I'm just going to list down all the values, what I think is important for you guys in a nutshell, based on different topics related to dropshipping, and that you should be aware of when you're starting, or maybe you're already an existing Shopify dropshipping store owner, right? And how I would basically go from absolute zero right now to, let's say, 100K a month, how I would do it if I would actually start from scratch again. Okay. First of all, I don't care too much, about what everybody is telling you, because, all the people who are maybe explaining the things that they're explaining to you, and they have, let's say, a big following as well, it could just work for them what is working. But what I'm going to share in this video is basically what's working for me, right? Everything can work. What I'm going to share is just what is working for me. So if you guys think, hey, this is not true, or like this is what working for me, that can just work, right? The thing is, I will just explain to you guys right now what is working for me, and you can actually use that in your advantage. So to just start, let's say a little bit more about my background for those who don't know me. Of course, my name is Carlos, and I basically started my dropshipping journey almost 5 years ago. Today's the 20th of June, 2024. And I started my dropshipping journey when I was 18, almost 18 actually. I was working in a cookie factory, and yeah, it was like actually a very terrible time, to be very honest, in a way of something that I didn't want to do. But on the other side, it was something that I also realized that was not the life that I wanted, right? And it could be that you're also maybe right now working a job, maybe just for a few months, maybe for a very long period of time, and you know that there's more available to you that you can do in order to actually start something on the side, to then maybe transition it as well into like a full-time income, right? That's also how I started with dropshipping. So how I went from being a cookie factory worker to becoming, let's say, a dropout as well, out of college, and quitting my job eventually. It was, let's say, a very bumpy road in the beginning, because the first 8 months I was losing a lot of money. I was burning my money because I didn't know what to do. There are so many resources right now available, so many people actually on YouTube, on Instagram, teaching people on how to do stuff and how to get rich and all that kind of stuff. How to drive a Lamborghini in 2 days. I can tell you right now, that's not going to happen, not at all. Even if you're like very experienced, you're not gonna basically, be in a private jet in just a week or a month from now. That's not going to happen. Okay, I can just tell you that right now. So I'm not here to sell you a dream. It is going to be a road that you want to take, if you're serious about it, that can actually lead you to very, very big profits and a very good life of living, right? If you do it properly. But it's not going to be easy. It's simple, but not easy. So what I mean by that, like, for my first 8 months, myself, for example, if I look at it right now, the first 8 months, like I said, every single euro that I was earning in a cookie factory, literally 4 euros 72 cents an hour. Absolutely terrible, of course. And working my ass off in that cookie factory, basically around people who were very comfortable there, right? Who looked through the eyes as they had no life, with all my respect. That's not basically where I wanted to be as a, like, say, 17, 18-year-old kid, right? There was so much more in front of me, which I did not know of, because, my family is not an entrepreneurial family. I was basically the same. The first one, actually, with my brother, who basically took the path of most resistance, right? But that's also where the biggest profits will be. So My first 8 months, like I said, I was literally launching my first ads for my Shopify store during working hours, during, let's say, the basically the breaks that I had from work, but also in between the crackers, right? Because I went in a cookie factory that also sold crackers. I was literally having my phone at that time, and I was when managing my Facebook ads. Absolute terrible. I would not recommend it. But that's how it started. And the first 8 months, without any guidance, I was just following everything that I could basically grab, from the internet to make it like good, to my store look good, and actually doing like 4 months to launch a store. It was a very, very strange time, but that's how it's supposed to be, right? In the beginning, even like back in 2018, 2019, when I look at it, it was a very different time because there are like not many resources as right now. Dropshipping was not that familiar as it is right now, so it was a very different time that I came from, in terms of that business model specifically. So I learned a lot of things in there, like for example, not to manage your ads, during work, because you will not make the best decisions as it's all emotional, and you only look at, okay, hey, I'm working an hour right now for just running ads that are actually, burning my money away. That's how I thought. There was that fixed mindset. But that changed, of course, over time when I also took my first mentor after 8 months. So let's say literally burning money, and I got to my first 40,000 euros in literally 30 days as an 18, I think almost 19, 18, 19-year-old kid. I can tell you, when you're earning that amount of money, when you're like 18, 19 years old, you feel like the king. You think you can literally do anything, right? But that was good as well, because I realized so many things. There were so many more possibilities, because if I could do that, let's say at 18, 19, what can I do like in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, where I'm right now, right? For those who don't know, I've done until now almost 5.6 million euros in online sales with my dropshipping stores. Um, and yeah, I've learned so many things along the way. So that's also what I will basically break down in a nutshell in this video for you guys. So first of all, the biggest lesson that I learned was, if you're surrounding yourself, of course, with people that are like-minded, that are on the same path, but also if you, for example, what I did, have a mentor that can guide you to at least not do the things that you think you should be doing, you will already save a lot of money. And that was the biggest thing that I've learned. Besides, of course, understanding what I should do as well, also to understand what I should not do, right? To prevent, let's say, burning money that way. So I understood, let's say, what the importance was of like actually finding qualitative products, right? Because I was first testing products as well with a very bad, low quality, and you think, oh no, it's very, very, very good product because it will deliver me results. The most important thing that you can do when your front end ready is directly looking after your back end. Because if you have, let's say, no back end in place, if you have no supplier to deliver the products in time that they promise, you're no supplier that you can rely on. That's the first stage. But besides that, you also have no qualitative products that you can actually scale long term. Then you will just see a lot of refunds. And one of the first products that I sold, which sold well, was not very good in quality. So what ended up happening, I was scaling that product, and it was a fashion product, but the quality was so low that I got a lot of refunds, and I was ended up losing money because of it, right? So that's not what you want. So before you scale, this is super important. I always tell my students as well, it's important to do a quality check, for example, fashion, or if you're like sending like a general product, whatever it is, that you at least do a quality check. For like for fashion, for example, how that looks like. You literally pull up, let's say, a shirt on a mannequin, and you ask the supplier to send that to you to see if the quality is good, what the material is based on, if that's similar to what you're actually using for, let's say, the description in your product page, and also if the size is the same as your selling price. Because if you're selling from China directly without any inventory or stock, you want to at least make sure that the pricing is similar to what you're using on your site, right? So if you use size, let's say 35, then it should not be a 36 or 37 that you should send out, right? If that is true, you should at least know before you scale, right? Because that way you will also prevent to have, let's say, a lot of refunds, etc. So you do that by, like I said, doing quality checks, by checking with supplier if the Chinese sizes are the same as the European sizes. Those are super important things to understand your quality first before you start scaling. But how do you actually find those products, right? Look, there are so many tools, guys, that you can use. Like literally everything could work and most likely will work. But the thing is, you don't want to, let's say, be in that shiny object syndrome like I was, to think, okay, this works, I will try it all. Honestly, the best thing that you can do is pick one thing and stick with it. Because if you stick along, if you stick, with it, and you know that it's working, and you just rely on one strategy at a time, you will eventually make it work. If you're going to test like 3 4 different product research strategies at a time, you know you have no focus, because you only have so much time, right? If you're doing 25% of the day product research for this tool, then 25 there, 25 there, 25 there, you will never see 100% of the results based off of, let's say, one product research tool. So my preference, as most of you guys know, and also maybe have seen in other videos, I use the Facebook ad library. Besides that, I use Afterlip. Minia is also a very good one, but like I said, we want to focus on one from the beginning. So if you're a complete beginner and you don't know what the Facebook ad library is, the Facebook ad library is a product research tool that you can use for completely free. And that's why it's so good for beginners, why it was also so good for me, is because you will have, let's say, zero upfront costs to use something that is already working. The Facebook ad library is actually from Meta itself, where you can find all the Instagram and Facebook ads with like one click of a button. Literally from the biggest brands out there, from Nike till, let's say, the grocery store around your corner, right? Who might be advertising products or services. So everything that you can find is on there. And if you want to use the strategies as well, we'll also link down somewhere in the description a product research video that I actually made recently as well, that you can use in your advantage with 5 products that you can sell on top of it. But besides that, if you actually want to use, for example, product research tools that you need to pay for, and you're like at that stage, hey, at least know how to use the free strategies, you can also rely on paid strategies, because most likely there are more, let's say, ways to find winning products with that tool, which might be working really well. But to be very honest, guys, I use the Facebook ad library literally every single day. My product research managers also use it literally every single day, because we know that is the basement. Like that's the basic, right? Like also, for example, what Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan are telling in their basically in their books, and on basically every show that they were on, is they said, the best people in the world, like the people actually know best what they were doing, for example, in basketball, right? They were understanding that the basics are the things they should focus on. And that's exactly what I did as well. I literally focused on, for example, only the ad library, as that's the basics of product research. You know what to search for example, what is the importance of understanding what products to search for, right? Is it having a wow factor if you are, for example, selling general? But more importantly, is it actually solving a problem? Because the problem is what people are basically happily willing to pay you for, right? To give you their credit card. So that's a super important to understand. Like, what are the basics of advertising, and what are the basics of product research? What's the basic of, let's say, setting up your Shopify web shop, right? If you don't understand the basics, you have no foundation. Without the foundation, you cannot build. So it's super important just stick with that first, to then, after a certain amount, if you're doing, hey, you're doing 2 3,000 euros a day, you're going to expand it and see if something else is also going to help you find even more good products, right? With maybe a bit more advanced kind of product research strategy. But like a very big suggestion for you guys, I would not use any, let's say, product research tools that are, let's say, done for you in that sense, because everybody has their hands on it. That's like the least amount of effort that you need to put in, but that's where you have the most competition, most likely, because as we know, if you succeed in life and you're having, let's say, a bit above average results, that is not too special, because mostly people are not willing to do that extra step, to go that extra mile, to get that extra, you know, with that extra effort, the, let's say, results that people want to see but are not willing to work for. So that is super important to understand. And if you just stick with that, with the basics, you master that, you become the very best in doing that. So you can eventually also outsource it and leverage it with the team. That is super important to do first before you do anything else. So that's basically how I approach, let's say, product research, and what I always tell people around me as well. So next up, we have, of course, what kind of store should you actually use, right? Because there's, like I said, you have general dropshipping, you have niche stores. But also you have one product stores. But what should you actually expect to use? Because I hear a lot of the times from my clients as well. Hey, I know this product is doing really well. I want to use a product research. I want to use a one product store for it. While they've never had a store in their life, right? They've never tested that product themselves. So why do you actually want to open up a one product store when you don't know if that product is working? I always suggest first to open up then a general store to test a bunch of products, or like a niche store to test a bunch of products within a niche, to then make a one product store out of that product that is actually generating your sales, and not to assume that it will get you sales, because most likely it's not going to be that way. Based on experience, I can tell you guys right now, like, the most strange products are the products that will work best for you. Like the most weird and ugly fashion products did actually generate me the most sales. And that's basically a bit in contradict to what you think should work, right? And that's the thing. Those are the products that most people are not using because it is so weird. But that's also why you might be one of the few who will test it. But you first should understand that you don't know what is working until you know it by actually testing it first. So I would always suggest, guys, if you're a complete beginner and you don't have a product yet that is proven to work for you, not for a competitor, for you in the market that you are operating in, then launch either a general store, so you can literally make a lot of collections and sell all kind of products that you think of, right? With the right product research, you can literally test everything. Um, or you're going to use a niche store. And a niche store, like I said, most of you guys know I'm active in Germany fashion, but you can think of many niches, like, kids and babies, home and garden, um, anything like beauty, all those. Every single niche works, guys, honestly. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. There's so much money in kids and babies because they have a lot of mothers and fathers who are willing to get the best products for their kid or their baby. You have a lot of people. You have to think about home and garden. Literally everyone you're advertising to will have a home or a garden. And that's because if they have a phone, most likely, not everyone, of course, but most likely they're also having a home. And that way you have a lot of audience you can target your products with, right? So you should understand that the bigger audience you have, the more opportunity you have to scale. So with that, it is important to pick the right niche if you want to use a niche. And basically everything can work. But if you go too narrow, for example, you're only selling photography products, right? That's a very small niche within a niche. So that's not the way how we would approach it if you're like completely new, right? Only if you're, for example, going to create like a long-term brand of it, and you know at least how to sell online, then you can do it. But from the beginning, you want to keep it broad. You want to keep the possibilities of you succeeding and seeing that first success like very, very open, right? And that's how you do it, by approaching a broad audience. So that's what I would suggest. And from there on, besides the actual store, of course, as well, which country you're going to operate in, because there are so many countries out there. Most of you guys know I am actually advertising and recommending also the people that are working with me to either focus on the Scandinavian or the European, Northern European countries, because that is untapped. If you look at the US, it can still work really well. Nothing against it, but you have way more competitors. Um, and the thing is, I'm selling in Germany. I have sold in Sweden. I've sold in the Netherlands. Netherlands and Dutch is like the only country, like the language I spoke from the countries I've advertised in. So right now, Germany, I don't speak a word German. Sweden, don't speak a word Swedish. Norwegian, I don't speak a single word of it. Danish, the same, right? So that is important to understand. You don't need to understand the language in order to sell there. So that's also the benefit of having, let's say, starting a dropship store. You can literally sell everywhere without having any stock, and without, with that basically paying a lot of money upfront to start an online business, right? So yeah, those are, let's say, the basics that you should understand. And besides that, I would like to tell more about the shipping and agents as well from those products, from the store that you're going to create in recommended in Shopify, as you guys know. But if you're, for example, going to use an AliExpress supplier, most of you guys know that the shipping times will be around 20, 30, maybe even more days. And that is not what people are willing to wait for nowadays, as you might know, because first of all, the attention span of people is so short, but also willingness to wait for products for like maybe more than 2 weeks, that's not something people want. If you're transparent and you're having, let's say, a shipping time of, let's say, 5 to 10 days with a private agent, that's the way how you would like to approach it in order to do long-term business with the store that you're generating, because you will get so many complaints otherwise as well. So the way how you do it is by actually using a private agent, or let's say at least a supplier like CG Dropshipping, Sendrop, that you can rely on, that at least having like a lot of quick shipping times actually all over the world. So to not rely on the AliExpress suppliers directly. And good sourcing agents can find literally every product against even cheaper prices than on AliExpress. Because you have to think about AliExpress, there are like just a lot of suppliers out there who are getting the products directly from the warehouse. When you have an agent, he directly approaches that warehouse and we can ship it out for against cheaper prices and sell faster shipping times. So that's the way how you want to go. And I also created a video about that, on how to find winning products, for example, using Facebook groups or other private agents. I will also list it down in the description so you can find more about that. But that is a highly must to use an agent, or let's say at least a supplier that you can rely on. So with that, we have, of course, the store. We have, which we use Shopify for, like I said. We have, for example, discovered, like, hey, how do we actually find winning products, right? Um, and what kind of store do you need to pick? So those are the most important things, the countries that you should focus on. And what is left is actually the Facebook ads, right? Why I say directly Facebook ads, there are so many platforms, guys. There's like, Pinterest that you can use, Snapchat ads you have right now, Google ads, like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, like everything could work. The thing is, you want to focus on the best one out there. And that is hands down Facebook and Instagram, Meta ads. Look, I've been active there myself like almost 5 years. And I can guarantee you guys, there is no better platform than Facebook and Instagram. Why? Is the most optimized their algorithm to find the right audience for you with the product that you're advertising. So you don't even need to target people anymore, because we just use very broad audiences. To very go more in detail about that, I will create also a separate video. But how I, for example, approach advertising and specifically the testing phase of a product is so simple. For those who know the terms, I use CBO, campaign budget optimization campaigns, right? That basically means we are giving the spend towards Facebook, and they're going to find the right audience for us with no targeting. So on ETSA level, the second level, right? You have let's say campaign level, you have ETSA level, you have ad level. On campaign level, we determine the budget, right? On ESA level, we determine, okay, what is the audience we are going to target, but we keep it broad because Facebook is so optimized, is so long in the game. They have so much data about the people on there. And that's why we want to keep it broad, so we don't need to do the hard work anymore. And they are going to find the right audience for us with just like us launching an ad without doing the hard work and finding the audience ourselves. And that, for example, is less optimized with Google. That's less optimized with all the other platforms that you can think of, TikTok. And those are very good, but they're like also very young audiences on there, which might more likely not buy your product. Doesn't mean that it's not good, but the fluctuation of results will just be very like going up and down. And that's not what you want in the beginning. You want a bit more of consistency, so you can get consistent results when you have a good product, and not, let's say, to get towards the peak in one day, but to be completely wasted the second, right? So to also get consistency and the best results, Meta ads, Instagram, Facebook, hands down, the best advertising platforms that you can use. I always use it every single day. My clients as well, I always recommend them to focus on one platform at a time. Of course, you can use all of them at the time when you're testing a lot of products. And okay, one product is doing really well, you can expand it to, like, say, different platforms to also multiply your income that way, right? When it's working on other platforms like Google or Pinterest or TikTok, whatever it is. But in the beginning, guys, I would highly suggest to just focus on one thing at a time. Also with advertising, that's on just one platform. Use that CBO approach that I just gave you. And from there on, we can continuously like test new creatives, we test new campaigns in terms of EBOs as well, like we're testing actual interest. And that way we can also extend the LTV, the lifetime value of the products that we are testing, right? So from testing, of course, we go to analyzing with what should you actually do with, while analyzing products, because that's like an topic that goes way much in detail. Look, we always test at, let's say, 50 euros per day, but it doesn't mean that we need to spend the entire 50 euros, right? We don't want to spend, or let's say, overspend on products that are not generating us any profits. So we want to cut those quick, right? To keep the profits high, and to keep the, let's say, maybe the losses, or let's say the investments that you do what will not, let's say, yield the results yet, to keep that as low as possible. So you need to understand, okay, what you should search on, like, for example, what are the most important KPIs that you should focus on, which is CPC, CTR, and CPM of Facebook. So your cost per click, click through rate, percentage preferably, and the CPM, right? So that's the cost per mil. So how much are you actually paying Facebook to get 1,000 eyeballs on your ad? And on other countries like the US, you pay way more because there are way more advertisers. In Europe, you pay way less. Can actually be like you're paying maybe 5 to 10 euros in Europe, while you're paying 50 to 100 euros in US, which basically means you paying, you're basically getting 5 to 10 more eyeballs over 1,000. Let's say 50 euros spent, you get 5 to 10 more eyeballs, compared to, for example, the US, right? So that's basically how you also want to approach and decide and determine which market you will go for from the beginning, right? And there are like so many more things, of course, to understand, what you should focus on. If you want to know more about it as well, I just list down my school community, basically free to join. It's an application, so if you want to join, just fill out like 3 questions in my school community, and I would do that personally. Like, I would like to accept you from there on. I will reach out to you personally to see who you are, why it's so important to you right now, and that way you can also learn more about the topics that I already discussed right now. But I hope this was already some sort of value. So if you want to actually elaborate more on it, like in detail, feel free to just join the school community in the description. It's completely free, and you can just learn more about it, and also connect with others from there on. So yeah, I hope this was valuable. Like I said, there are so many things that will work. Like, this is not the main thing that will work, because everybody can make money with dropshipping. Everything can work, but this is just what working for me. So if you like this kind of approach as well, just a bit more like raw talks, or like, just more authentic, let me know in the comments. I would highly appreciate that. Would you, if you can let me know what you think of it, and I will create more topics, like more videos from, like, about this, in this kind of style, about the topics that we just discussed, but then maybe more in detail, that we do, hey, we were talking about product research, Facebook ads, or like whatever it is, more in detail, in the next videos. But let me know what kind of topics maybe you would like to see discussed, and I would be happily willing to share the values about that specific topic as well. So yeah, I hope it was valuable, and yeah, thank you for watching. Looking forward to see you guys then in the next video. Take care. Peace.